Why is Generation Jones so cynical? Hey there, I'm Jill, your Generation Jones BFF. Ever heard of Generation Jones? Well, if not, grab your Rubik's Cube and settle in, because we're about to take a trip back in time where bell-bottoms were cool, gas was a hot commodity, and trust in politicians, well, that was a bit of a joke. First up, the Vietnam War. While the boomers were out protesting, Jonesers were growing up in the shadow of a war that just wouldn't quit. By the time we were old enough to understand it, the war was over, leaving behind a country that was questioning everything, including its leaders. And speaking of questionable leaders, Richard Milhous Nixon, Watergate. Imagine being a teenager and watching the President of the United States resign on live TV. For Jonesers, this wasn't just a scandal, it was a front row seat to the unraveling of our trust in government. You think your teenage years were rough? Try dealing with the collapse of American political innocence. And then came the 70s oil crisis. Gas lines stretched for miles, and suddenly that sweet ride we've been dreaming of was more like an expensive paperweight. Stagflation was the word of the day. High prices, no jobs, lots of stress. Fun times, right? And just as we were getting used to the economic chaos, along came Reaganomics. The promise, prosperity for all. The reality, we Jonesers got to witness the rise of the yuppies, corporate greed, and the shrinking middle class. Not exactly the American dream we'd been sold. But it wasn't all bad. Generation Jones was the first to experience the magic of personal computers, the birth of cable TV, the explosion of pop culture. We may have missed Woodstock, but we had Pac-Man, MTV, and Michael Jackson's Moonwalk. So the next time somebody talks about the boomers or Gen X's, don't forget about Generation Jones. We're right in between. We're the original jaded optimists. We're caught between a rock and a hard place, but always finding our groove through the chaos.